Hey, happy hump day. So I have this little microphone and I always want to hold it up and make it really official like this. But just having a little fun here. But I want to come on, just do one of my candid talks. So if anybody does end up jumping on, feel free to send me your comments, your questions, things you'd like to talk about in the future for other segments. Otherwise, I'm happy to just come on here and share my thoughts. And if somebody finds them, hears them one day, and it's beneficial for them, well, then I suppose that I served a purpose in some capacity. But I mentioned on social media recently that a lot of people will see your podium moments, but they won't see the struggle to get to the podium and to climb it. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I know that I've been blessed to have some opportunities lately. I have some work up at Edelman Fine Art Gallery in Little Italy right now for an exhibition, and I've been live painting at the gallery on a lot of the weekends. But I've been burning the candle at both ends. It's exhausting. It took a lot of work to get here, but I'm so thankful for it. And it was definitely worth all the struggle and the hardship to get there. And I definitely have a greater appreciation for it because I have been on top in a sense before and got knocked back down and had the ebbs and the flows, the ups and the downs. And I think that's kind of the nature of life as an artist. But as artists, we are also creative individuals that are capable of finding creative solutions when we run into problems. And this past weekend, one of the pieces that I did that I live painted at the gallery, it was an homage to Van Gogh's Starry Night. And the painting is called A Safe Space for Vincent. And what I did was I essentially took the tree element out of Starry Night, added my own little twist to it, different perspective, put it in daylight of sorts, but worked with the Van Gogh color palette of yellow ochres with some Indian throne blues and some Payne's grays. And I ended up writing his initials on the tree and carving a little heart on it. So, little homage to him, and also awareness for mental health because I think that that's a big thing too. And I'm reminded of that because as I have these blessings, these wonderful things coming in, I see the toll that it takes on me. It's exhausting. You can kind of hear it in my voice. I've been a little beat down lately. And this morning, I misplaced my keys for like the first time in my entire life. And it's because I've just been rolling with the energy because I've had it, but it is exhausting and it is daunting. And I think that the real key to success as an artist is not only finding the creative solutions, but it's just enduring. It's the idea that this is an endurance game. Being an artist, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so you're going to have the ups and the downs. And I think that one of the detriments of the culture that we live in is that you'll see people that appear to be successful and you don't see the struggle behind it. And sometimes people are not honest about all the things that it takes to get there. And the truth is that a lot of things are a luck of the draw, and some people are afforded more opportunities than other people, and all you can really do is work with what you have, make the most of it. And I have found that a lot of people will really give up before they even get started because the idea of having to go through the struggle or to potentially fail is just too daunting a thing for them to consider, and so they just don't even begin. The other thing to consider is the fear of success. So I want to have that talk on another day. How people will often ride the middle because of a fear of failure, but also a fear of success. So they'll try to stay in this safe pocket where they kind of just fit in but don't really stand out. But in order to stand out, you're going to have to take some chances, and in taking chances, you do risk sometimes falling on your face. You risk having to pick yourself up, and I think that that's one of the greatest blessings that I've ever had, is that there are a lot of times in life where I thought that somebody was going to come pick me up because I have done that for other people and I've seen it happen for other people. And so I thought, well, there's no way that people are just going to let me be in this position down here. Somebody's going to help me out, somebody's going to come save me. And I realized at some point that nobody was coming. And that's just the case for some people. Some people have different scenarios. Some people have somebody that come and pick them up. And that can be a thing that is hurting them as well, because they may not learn to stand on their own feet. And so learning to stand on my own feet, learning to pick myself up and to carry the weight of others. So that was another thought that I had recently, was that you should train hard in whatever you do because life gets heavy, and it really does. There are going to be times where you have bad days, where you have your struggles. And sometimes it's just a matter of being able to survive that and carry on a little bit longer, being able to hold on to get to the next day. So sometimes your progress for a day may just be not really moving forward, but holding on and not going backwards, or minimizing and mitigating how far you do fall backwards. So for those that are fighting various battles, whether it be mental health or otherwise, I think that that's an important lesson too, and to recognize and acknowledge that that's okay. And that was one of the reasons that I wanted to do that little tribute to Van Gogh. Now, Van Gogh during his lifetime only sold one painting, but now he's world renowned, recognized by many as one of, if not the world's greatest painter. Obviously, there's always going to be arguments about who the goat is, who the greatest of all time is, but you could definitely argue that he is up there. And the response to his work makes it somewhat undeniable. But to think that he only sold one painting during his lifetime. So if you look at how many people evaluate their success these days, if you were in his shoes, listening through his ear, um, you might say that you were a failure, but was he? No, absolutely not. But it's just sometimes the success, the acknowledgement doesn't come when we want it to, and sometimes it does come later. Sometimes it comes after we pass, but we can't really control that. So all we can do is make the most of what we have when we have time. But we never really know how much time we have. So a lot of people will say, "Oh, I'm going to do this tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to get to it later." And the truth is that we're never going to be fully prepared. Sometimes you just have to dive in and do the difficult things, the things that suck. You have to go through the struggle, and that's why I'm a big believer in fitness and conditioning and mentality. And so this morning I woke up, everything hurt. I didn't want to go out for a run, but it's part of my routine and part of my conditioning. So I went out, did my run. So yeah, I'm exhausted now, but I feel accomplished. I feel like okay, I could say I did what I set out to do, what I said I was going to do, and then it kind of got me going. So sometimes you do need to warm up a little bit or even warm up a lot of bit before you really kind of hit your groove or your sweet spot. So some people will say, "Oh, I don't really feel like I'm in a creative space. I'm not really feeling the energy." Well, sometimes that's okay, but at some point if that persists, you're just going to have to dive in and go through the motions and warm yourself back up into getting into that space. And I find that in going through even the actions of that, it opens you up again and it activates those senses that conditioning the muscle memory will kick in and it'll start to turn over again. So sometimes when you're not feeling it, the best thing you can do is to get to work. And I think that one of the things that really helped me was as I was coming up going through college and in my 20s, I would say, okay, well, I know a lot of other people are going to be taking days off. I know a lot of other people are going to be going out to bars and doing this and doing that. And so if I'm willing to put in the time to do my thing, to focus on my art, my painting, my marketing, building the business, filling in the gaps where I'm insufficient right now, and I'm willing to do those things when other people are taking their breaks, then I can get ahead. And not get ahead in the sense of being better than anybody, but the harsh reality is that a lot of people are going to quit on the journey. And just like a race, just like a marathon, you have people that never get started. The vast majority of people will never get started, but a certain number of people will. Now, as you get going, certain people will start to trickle off, and some people will get really, really far, almost make it to the end, and then they'll fall off right there. And sometimes they're just a step away. And I like to say that lost is just a step away from found. So you never really know how close you are to hitting your sweet spot, to hitting that goal, to reaching that podium that you've been climbing for. So if you're going to put in the work, go until you finish, go until you get your prize. Carry on, keep going, go through the struggle, go through the suck. And one of the reasons I say that is because I see so many people talk about their job, that their job is holding them back, that they can't focus on what they want to do because of their job. I was in the same place. I said early in my career that when I reached a certain point, had a certain amount of money, that's when I was going to cut the parachute and I was going to go forward and focus solely and strictly on my art, moving that forward. But cost of living went up and my wages didn't go up. And I found that, hey, even though I paid off my student loans, even though I have no credit card debt, even though my car is paid off, somehow, some way, I seem to have less expendable income and resources to work with than I did when I just got out of college. And so I said to myself, you know what? We may just have to burn these boats and burn these bridges so that there is no way back to them, so that we can't go back to that illusion of security, because that's all it is. It's an illusion of security. And in cutting that tether, I was able to then move forward. And my only option was to be successful in what I'm doing or nothing else. That was the end. So I find that if you create a scenario where your only option is to move forward and be successful, it will significantly increase your odds of doing so. And you're going to have to take some chances. You're going to have to do some uncomfortable things. But if you're uncomfortable in some crappy, shitty job that's not meant for you to begin with, why not put all the effort and energy that you're giving to that, however many hours a week, 25, 30, 40, 50 hours a week? Imagine what you can do if you shift that towards your dream and towards your calling. That's what you should be focused on in life, is your calling. Too many people have been conditioned into this idea that, hey, it's okay to do this. And I mean, you want to say it's okay, then I'm not here to judge. But so many people will go through their entire lives working some job that means absolutely nothing to them, working towards somebody else's dream. So, do you want to work towards somebody else's dream and putting money in their pocket and making them feel fulfilled? Or do you want to feel fulfilled and doing so for your family, for those that follow behind you, so you can set an example so that they can move forward and be the best versions of themselves? Wouldn't you want that for your friends? Wouldn't you want that for your kids? So, again, support people in their dreams, support people on the come up. Tell people that, hey, even if other people haven't done it, you may be the first to be able to do it. So, encourage people, keep moving them forward. Don't tell them that they can't do it just because you haven't done it. Don't be one of those people. And if other people have said, hey, you can't do this, it's because somebody probably told them they couldn't do it. And so they didn't move forward and they didn't do the thing that they wanted to do with their life. But it doesn't mean that you can't. So pursue your calling, take a chance, make the big jump, burn the bridges, burn the boats, survive, then move forward and thrive. Carry on, and you will succeed. Keep going until you get your prize. Keep going until you're on the podium. Check out CariniArts.com, and maybe someday we'll have a couple people on one of these live feeds. So until then, I'm just trying to do my part, and I'll put this out there. And if nobody ever sees it, well, guess what? I'm still doing my thing, going through my practices and my protocols, turning routines into rituals, because that's what I believe that I need to do in order for me to move forward. So have a good day, CariniArts.com.